How to be a high value player, HVP. What a controversial title, right? Given all the confusion on what high value really means. In this modern Western world, most women have lost the art of being feminine, being conditioned to compete with men, and therefore becoming masculine themselves. But at the same time, many of us men in the West have lost touch with the true strength of being masculine. This is why our ideas of love and romance are so emasculated that many of us think that we have to sacrifice our mission, our ambition, our life goals, and even our time and money to please women. Our egos have gotten conditioned to want women to desire us, and we seek this ambition more than building our personal empires. Gentlemen, men have not been like this throughout history, and you won't find much of this outside the US and Western Europe. Men in the West who aspire to have multiple women don't really understand how to manage it, have multiple women successfully because no one taught them. And no, movies like How to Be a Player ain't gonna help, though it was funny. For men with ambition, there's levels to this thing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep this new channel growing. In this video, I'll show snippets of a movie called Dangerous Beauty from 1998, currently streaming on Starz channel if you have it, so that's on the Starz channel, that does a good job summing up how romance and marriage were arranged or planned for centuries ago in Europe, though the same pattern existed in Africa and Asian empires as well. This movie shows that marriage is a contract that is usually tied to ambition, for uniting kingdoms, creating alliances, and for securing the legacies of two families. When it comes to pursuing high-value masculine men in those days, the women positioned themselves, often with the help of their parents, to be chosen based on their family background and lineage, not based on a silly Hollywood fantasy like today. They knew how to identify high-value men, what they desired, what made them tick. Men today can learn from these lessons in the past to achieve their true potential and not be overly focused on pleasing hardened, masculine, modern women. And modern women can learn some of the art of femininity from this movie. So guys, if you know women who need help in this area, have them watch this video and that movie.
He must be paid.
So have you got a new posting, Sarah? Do you know a new sail?
Yes, next week.
Wish I could go with you, sail the high seas.
Oh, Veronica, high seas indeed. She'll never find a husband if she carries on like a child.
How do people marry, Mother?
They strike a bargain.
What's to bargain over if you're in love?
Marriage is a contract, Veronica. Marriage is a contract, Veronica.
In order to return ourselves to true masculinity, it's good to see examples of true femininity in all its forms. This will help with the goal of becoming a high-value man who exercises options, if that's what you want to do, aka high-value player. If you're still confused about what a high-value man is, subscribe to this channel to be notified of my upcoming video, Distinguishing High-Value Man from Gentlemen. This is important because we have a lot of modern women and their male worshippers who are butchering the definition of a high-value man so much that any man who makes them feel good is considered high value. No, ladies, no. The word value has more than one definition. We're not talking about the warm and fuzzy feeling definition tied to morals and values and virtue, that kind of thing. That's what a gentleman is. Gentlemen are the moral and virtuous ones. Not all gentlemen are high value, and not all high value men are gentlemen. We're strictly using the word value from its monetary definition root. When you get paid for your job, What value do you want to get paid with? Monetary value or moral value? I'll wait. All right, I rest my case. A high-value man, since a few decades ago, has always been associated with a man who makes six figures. Now, we adjusted for inflation since the 1980s. It's probably closer to $150K a year, but $100,000 is okay to keep things simple, right? The idea is that a high-value man is in the top 5 to 10% of earners, period. Again, subscribe to be notified of that upcoming video on high-value men versus gentlemen. Now, that's out the way, so let's continue. For those who don't understand how the world of wealth works, there is an even higher category of men beyond high-value men. They are called high net worth men, HNW. These guys are in the less than 1% of wealthy people. Anyone who has worked in private banking and wealth management knows this concept. Banks have a minimum value they look for in such men before granting special banking privileges. Often, the minimum is $5 million in liquid assets, meaning that no matter how your wealth is accumulated or earned, if you can't turn it into $5 million cash within 1 year, you ain't high net worth, brother. I'll be honest, I am a high value man, having made at least $100,000 a year since the mid-90s, but I'm not high net worth. I'm not one of those high net worth guys, and that's okay. Now, I would have been there had it not been for my divorce, but I certainly make well over $100K a year. I have worked with high net worth men in my business consulting work, including the heads of Fortune 1000 companies. So I know their world very well. They move very different. They don't always show their wealth in obvious ways, though some may have a Maybach or Rolls Royce here and there, right? But you can tell by their custom shirts that cost over $300 or their $500 haircuts and overall grooming. Women who study these details know what I'm talking about. Those are high-class ladies.
Courtesan is a force of nature in a civilized cloak. Any chambermaid can flop down, take off her shirt, and men will come. Your true power comes from something much deeper than beauty. Cleopatra knew that. Theodosia, Aspasia. She could seduce a man at 20 paces without revealing an inch of flesh.
How?
With her mind. Desire begins in the mind.
I don't understand.
No, you don't.
If you thought the schedules of high-value men are always packed, that ain't nothing compared to high net worth men. They don't have time to be out there wasting it on trying to please and game women with swag. If you think about it, spending time trying to perfect and improve your game and swag is kind of beta. Hate to say it. What I mean is that we men in the West are under the spell from the spirit of witchcraft, where we think in order to be quote-unquote real men, we have to perfect our game and add swag to the mix as if we're subservient to women, looking for their judgment. This is a modern Western fantasy that actually favors women. Many of you lower-level players don't realize that you are overly concerning yourselves with pleasing women as part of your psychological game. By that, I don't mean you should be the opposite. You don't have to be nasty and cruel to women, though some high net worth alpha men are. What I mean is, as part of your game, you don't value your time as much as you value wasting or pleasing women in order to get in the sheets between their cheeks. Whether you admit it or not, this takes time. Out of 20 women you may meet in a week, let's say, how long does it take to sift through those women in order to get to that one chick you will smash that night? It may have taken you 30 minutes on her alone, but it probably took hours going through all the other 19 women, including calling, texting, messaging on social media, meeting at a public place, etc. High net worth men, and even some high value men in the $250K or more a year range, well, depending on cost of living adjustments in your area, this could be like even $500K or more. They don't have time for all that. This is where the concept of the high-value player comes into play. It is not a new concept, as it actually comes from the harem concept made popular by people in history like Suleiman the Great of the Ottoman Empire days about a few hundred years ago, as well as the concubine system in pre-modern kingdoms in Europe, Asia, and Africa, as well as their ancient counterparts in the days of King David and Solomon and the ancient Egyptians. And speaking of the Pharaoh, in the book of Genesis is the story of how Abraham conspired with his wife Sarah to conceal the fact that he is her husband, just in case Pharaoh's concubine recruiters came by and wanted her, Sarah, to be part of the Pharaoh's harem of beauties, basically, his concubines. This part of the Bible is showing you that even the Pharaoh did not have time to use game and swag on women. He's too powerful, he's too busy with all his empire building. The only woman King David, let's go to King David's story, the only woman King David recruited directly was the married Bathsheba, and who knows if she didn't position herself on purpose to be naked in her tub within his eyesight, within David's eyesight, right? So, but this is what some women of old did. That's what they did. That's how they expressed their femininity, and masculinity responded to that. I'll skip the history details, as that would make this video way too long. There are some logistics details from Suleiman the Great I will focus on, though even then, the details are not lengthy. Long story short, Suleiman could have had any woman in his empire, but he did not have time to actually vet each one. For him, time was way more important than making himself desirable to women. So he followed the pattern of previous empires. He had a team of managers, tutors, and harem workers to do the vetting and educating and grooming for him. If Suleiman were alive today, he probably would have hired the most expensive team of dating service providers to scour his empire for all the most beautiful women and put together an online profile of each one he could browse. And of course he would, before all that, tell his team exactly what kind of woman he likes in the most painstaking detail, so that he did not get the undesirable women. Back in those days, he told and showed his team what he likes, and it was their job to find them. Ideally, the women had to be cultured and influential, and if not, at least have potential to be groomed into refined women. Some took longer to groom than others. Some women, when captured, didn't go straight to his bedchambers like some of you younger knuckleheads are doing today by bringing random women you met on Tinder to your home and to avoid paying for first dates. What if she were an assassin? What if she stank down there? Suleiman couldn't take that chance, so his pimp team, yes I said a pimp team, went through a draft process similar to how Major League Baseball does it today. In the MLB, high school and college players don't go straight to starting positions on pro teams. They go through the minor league farm system. Similarly, the systems of concubines and harems of long ago groomed their women to eventually be qualified to be by the side of the ruler of the realm. In today's world, high net worth men with means and significant resources at stake must vet their newly recruited women to be ready to be by their side at high-powered corporate events, upscale happy hours and dinners, world-class parties on yachts, or on a G6 corporate jet to some exclusive island with at least 5-star accommodations. These are not your typical Instagram models. These men can't risk being embarrassed with silly women as their high-powered peers, only surround themselves with men who exercise sound judgment at that level. You're not going to find BBLs, tattoos, bull rings, and noses, and weirdly colored hair. Gentlemen at this level leave those kind of women to you ballers on the budget. High-class women, called ladies, are groomed early on to be next to the most powerful and wealthy men in the world. But my gentlemen, you don't have to have a net worth of multiple millions of dollars to be a high-value player. You just have to value your time over the effort needed to personally seek out these women if you have status and charisma and resources, right? If you have close friends who know your female type, let them recruit for you. If need be, hire them or some professional to do the work while you focus on building your financial and business empire. You can always make money, but each second of your life can never be returned to you, so choose wisely. Now, there will be those men out there who will scoff at this idea, saying, high net worth men got no game. Yeah, you go ahead and waste your time on gaming women. These high class gentlemen will tell you, they'll tell you that. They'll say, go ahead and game those women all you want. Obviously, you don't make this kind of money and you probably just work 8 hours a day, and that's okay. Then yes, you will need to use whatever charm necessary to woo modern Western women if that's your thing. But stay in your minor league lane while high value and high net worth men make major league moves. For them, women truly come a dime a dozen, and the women have to make the effort to put themselves in position to be chosen by these financially well-off guys, while you waste your time on artificial game and swag to get women with nose rings, BBLs, tattoos all up and down their arms and legs. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your station in life. This world is a class system, whether you realize it or not. I'll continue this topic in a future video, but let me know your thoughts on this topic. Agree or disagree? Obviously, the world of high net worth men is quite different than the average guy, but even lower net worth men with means, the high value men, who choose to exercise options can do so in a way that does not take much time away from building their personal empires. I highly recommend you value your time better so you can achieve your big time goals sooner rather than later. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep this new channel growing. Until us modern Western men get back to our truly masculine nature, the apocalypse of good men will continue. Welcome to the Brother Apocalypse.